The Arizona podcast is brought to you by Giant Protective Coatings, a flooring company that specializes in epoxy flooring and concrete resurfacing systems. They speak Spanish, they're in the LA area, and they are an amazing company to work with. They have awesome customer service and they give you honest quotes with great work, and I couldn't recommend them enough. So if you use the promo code ArrowsUp, you get a 15% off on your next project. So call them, reach out to them. You can find them at on the internet, triumphcoatingsca.com, and you can request a free quote and all that fun stuff. You can follow them on Instagram, triumph_coatings, and they do speak Spanish and they do great work, like I said. So check them out. Promo code Arrows Up, 15% off your next project. Arrows Up podcast. Today I have a NBA pod for you on this Friday evening. Friday morning. I'm recording this on Thursday. It's 10 p.m. West Coast time, so you will definitely see this Friday. And so what I have for you is NBA, where we're at. We're entering, this is the last day of February, so playoffs are around the corner, man. So we got to kind of just get into it, get in the groove as the playoffs are about to start and things are about to get wicked. So should be a lot of fun as we get into it. So that's what I have for you too. Some NBA, a little football, like soccer, not like American football, and that's it. That's all I have for you. So hope you enjoy. Here we go. Here's a podcast. We have NBA full swing as we head into March. We got a few things to go over, and let's start here. Jason Tatum, he's had a good year. He's been the best player on the Celtics, which is no surprise, right? I think we all expect him to be. But Jason Tatum has been in the news lately, and he's been talking a lot about just how he should be the face of the NBA and how he should be regarded as just the face and things like that. And look, he is a complete player, and he is arguably the one of the top. He's in the top 5 for sure of like the best two-way defenders, right? He's you would think of him as being, from that standpoint, one of the top dudes when it comes to that. And so, in terms of two-way, and so when we think of Jason Tatum, we think of the corny Jason Tatum. We think of him pretty much stealing the celebrations of everyone when he won the title. And that kind of pushes him down a bit. But if you go down the list of the top guys and who is a better two-way player, you get Shea, who's better offensively and who's more complete offensively, and during a game is a more complete player. But he's not a better two-way player, right? I'm not saying anything crazy. Jokic, no, he's a better player than Jason Tatum, but he's not a better two-way player. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's better than these guys. I'm just saying he's a two-way player. He's not better two-way player than Giannis. Giannis beats him, right? He's a better defender than Luka, no doubt, but Luka's a better player. He's a better defender than Steph. Steph's a better player. At this stage of LeBron's career, LeBron is not as good defensively because he doesn't play defense consistently. Donovan Mitchell, nope. Anthony Edwards plays both sides of the ball, but Tatum's a better offensive player than Anthony Edwards. Who would you rather have going forward? Jason Tatum. No, Anthony Edwards. He's only 2-3. Victor Wembanyama. He's a better player right now, and he's better offensively than Wembanyama right now. He's not better defensively. But two-way, he's a better two-way player than Wemby right now. He's a better two-way player than Durant. He's a better... See, Anthony Davis, I don't know, because when Anthony Davis is clicking offensively, I think Anthony Davis is better defensively than Tatum. And so that one might be a wash. So I named you 12 guys or 11 guys. 11 guys, and only one of them is definitely better than him, two-way players. And one of them is tied. So he is arguably the most complete player in the entire NBA, right? He is arguably the guy who is getting all the shots, who's making everything happen for the Celtics. And because of that, I think we have to understand, and we have to have an understanding of his standing in the league. And I think one of the things that gets Tatum in trouble is this idea that he wants to get more recognition. He wants to feel and get all with being the face of the league. The problem with Tatum being the face of the league is that he's not marketable, right? He doesn't have the markability that LeBron has. And quite frankly, besides LeBron, Steph, and KD, and Anthony Edwards, nobody else really has it. Wemby has it because he's a freak. And, that's the draw. But, Jokic doesn't care for it. Shea just has what the kids would call the aura. But he doesn't have he's not somebody that you're checking, what is he doing? He's just an awesome basketball player, but he doesn't transcend the sport. Giannis doesn't either. Tatum doesn't either, but Tatum doesn't because he's too corny. That's the reality of it. Luka, maybe, now that he's with the Lakers. And so when you think of, and even Anthony Edwards, who has all the charisma, he in the All-Star break goes on to say that Wemby's going to be the face of the league, which it's what? What do you mean? Shouldn't you want to be the face of the league? Shouldn't you be the guy that wants this? And it was a weird statement that he made. And so Jason Tatum wanting to be the face of the league, wanting to take over the spot, it just doesn't work because it just comes off like he's a tryhard. And I think that's why people don't like Jason Tatum, because he comes off as corny. And when you think of the most popular basketball players, they're not corny. And I think as great as Jason Tatum is, he's going to continue to not get the recognition he deserves in terms of, because people are going to, nobody's saying that Jason Tatum sucks, but in terms of getting the worldwide recognition of not only is he great, but man, he's the face of our league. He's going to be the guy everywhere. He's not going to have that because we all see him as a tryhard. Unless you're a Celtics fan, then it's different. He's your guy. So I wanted to start there. Luka played against the Mavs this week in LA, and so the big game is going to be when Luka goes back to Dallas. And so one of the things that's clear, Luka is all in. Every year, he's going to circle the games he has versus the Mavericks. He's going to circle it. He's going to say, this is who I'm going to play, and this is going to be my best games. He had a very complete game on Tuesday night. He didn't shoot the ball all that well. He was 6 for 21 of 9, and he's going to figure out the three-point shooting. He was 1 of 7. He was 1 of 9 tonight versus the Timberwolves. And JJ Redick said he's just going to let him pretty much shoot his way out of it, which is the way you're supposed. That's what you do with a great player like Luka. You kind of just, he's going to have to figure his way out of it. And Luka's never been like an awesome three-point shooter. He is a very streaky three-point shooter. And when he gets going, he gets going. But on Tuesday night, Luka, you could tell that game meant a lot. And he, after the game, was talking about how he just can't wait to go to bed. Because it was probably so exhausting for him that game, to be up, to have just all the pressure, to have all the back and forth. And he looked like somebody that had the idea that this was a big game for him. And so that was one of the things that stood out to me, that sometimes a guy gets traded and it seems like, whatever, like it's business, and they give you that answer. And with Luka, it was like, no, like this sucks, and it bothered me. And you could just tell the way he just was, like, before the game, the push-ups he was doing, talking to Mark Cuban, telling him to shut up. He makes 2 threes in the first quarter, and he looks over immediately at Jason Kidd and at the whole Dallas bench, and he just, like, was letting them have it. And you don't see that very often in today's NBA. And when we think of who's the face of the league, I know Jason Tatum wants that spot. I know that we're just about ready to crown Wemby. Jokic wants no part of it. It might be Luka. It might be Luka with the Los Angeles Lakers, because he has the city, he has the market, the team, and now he has the fire. The fire to say, they didn't want me, and now I'm going to prove you wrong. And if you're the Lakers, the number one priority is getting him to sign the extension. That's it. That's all Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, and anybody else in the Lakers brass. The entire goal has to be to get this guy to sign that extension, because Luka is now going to be in prove-it mode. They said I wasn't worth it. They said I was going to fall off. They said I was going to beat Joel Embiid. And what I saw on Tuesday and the response from the fans, because we've been on this conversation about the NBA, the ratings are low. And you know what people care about? People care about stories. And you know what helps ratings? When there's a good story. And you know what's a great story? Luka pissed off at his team and the drama behind him getting traded. TNT, HBO, Max, they all reported it was like the highest viewed game they've had ever. On Saturday, Lakers Nuggets was the highest rated program on TV for Saturday. And so Luka and the Lakers is immediately great for the NBA, which I think we all knew that. We just didn't know how important it was. And I think we have to go back to Kobe. When Kobe was with the Lakers, even when the Lakers weren't good, the Lakers were must-watch TV because Kobe was must-watch TV. And Luka is must-watch TV. Because surprisingly, LeBron isn't. LeBron is awesome, and he's an all-time great, but he isn't must-watch TV. Not in the regular season. And Luka is. Because of the fire and the competitive drive that he carries. And so it was just a phenomenal experience just to see that play out on Tuesday night. And so, two storylines I wanted to hit. Let's talk some teams, shall we? What we're not going to do, we're not going to talk about the Wizards. We're not going to talk about the Hornets. Yeah, we're not going to talk about those teams for sure. We're not going to talk about many teams, but we'll start here. Cleveland Cavaliers in the East. We'll start in the East. 8 winners of 8 straight. They continue to play really, really good basketball. They got a big game versus the Celtics tomorrow or tonight. And they've been taking care of business. They beat the Cavs, the Magic, by like 40 points on Tuesday. And they have just been on a tear. They beat up on the Grizzlies and the Knicks. And so that 3-game stretch, I mean, they've won 8 straight, but the last 3 were impressive what they're doing to these teams. And I still think Boston is the best team in the East, top to bottom. And if I had to pick a team coming out of the East, I still pick Boston. But man, Cleveland is for real. And Cleveland is, I trust them more than I trust OKC, just because they're more seasoned. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't like what I saw from the Thunder this week when they blew they were up 16 with 3 minutes left and they lost the game. I don't remember seeing that in a long time. And so the Cavaliers are playing excellent basketball. And they are the best. They have the best record in all of basketball. And if they're able to match up with the Celtics, which I think they can after just the moves that they made in the offseason, in the trade deadline, getting DeAndre Hunter is going to be just another guy that they're able to throw at the Celtics, and that's going to be the key, I think, as we get into the playoffs. It seems like they are going to be able to lock up the number 1 seed, which will be huge. So that's 1. 2, the Boston Celtics are playing a lot better. Now, if you look at the stats, you'd say, well, the Celtics haven't really not been good. They're 42-17. They won 8 of 2. But if you watch them, you've known and you've seen the ups and downs of them. They are not as crisp. They are not as fluid. They are not executing at the highest level like they were last season when they were just steamrolling through teams. And also, other teams are not as discouraged by the roster. The Pistons put it on them, and we're starting to see just all these teams that go up against the Celtics have a confidence in them to not just play them, but also to stick around. And last year we would see that they were so demoralizing, and they were so overwhelming, and they were overwhelming these teams at such a high clip that it just kind of would destroy the morale of the other teams. And so that's one thing to watch as we go into playoffs, that no team is really demoralized by the Celtics this season. The lineup of Porzingis, which last year was almost enough just on paper, like you would see him on the court, you're like, dang, what the heck? Like, how are we going to defend this? To this season, it's been like, okay, and what? And so, and it's probably because it's been a year. They've seen it. They're more prepared. It doesn't look as crazy as it did last year. It helps that Jaylen Brown hasn't been as good as he was last season. But the Boston Celtics are still should be favored. I think, this idea that they're not as good as they were last year, I think we need to pump the brakes. They're clearly not as focused on the regular season. They're clearly having Drew Holiday just take his time and pick his spots. And I think when the playoffs start, he'll be available, and they'll be full go. And I think we're going to have possibly a very fun Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks are a very fun team. The Knicks are a very, fun is the right word. One of the things about the Knicks is Tom Thibodeau's going to run them to the ground by the time we get to April. And he's going to make sure that they're not as good in the playoffs as they could be. And that's a sad story about the Knicks. That's where we're at with them. Paul George this week said that he was going to stop recording podcasts to focus on the championship run with the Sixers. He should have done it 20 games ago. Paul George has not been good. And in the NBA, whenever a guy goes through like drastic drop in numbers like that, it's a signal that the guy has fallen off, and it typically doesn't come back. Paul George might be washed. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And so it might not matter that he's not going to record his podcast for a while. It just might not matter. Plain and simple. Detroit Pistons. Did you know they were the 6th seed in the NBA? If you listened to this podcast last week, you do. But if you didn't, then you didn't know, unless you're locked in the NBA. But the Pistons are playing really good basketball. Cade Cunningham is really good at basketball, and you should watch him because he's worth it. And the Pistons have won 8 straight games, and they've played really good basketball over that stretch. And they are 33-26. The Bucks are 33-25. The Pacers are 33-24. Detroit might have home court advantage in the first round of a playoff series. Like, it's not inconceivable that can happen. And that is insane. And I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for Cade Cunningham. And I don't know any Detroit Pistons fans, but I'm happy for them as well. Shout out to them. Let's go to the West. Shall we? We shall. I told you the Thunder blew a horrible lead, a big lead, and had a horrible loss. Maybe the worst loss of the season for any team, considering time of the year, how much they were up, the whole thing. And considering that Minnesota did it without Anthony Edwards for most of it. They're still 47-11. They are still the best team in the West. They still have the NBA MVP for this season. SGA is going to win it unless something like crazy happens and they collapse. Jokic is number 2, but I think because the Thunder, because he's been playing so amazing, and because the Thunder are so like ahead of everybody else that he has to win it. So it's uh, SGA's award to lose. And one of the things that is starting to be evident, though, is that nobody's afraid of the Thunder. Nobody, like, if you hear people that talk about basketball, we all hype up the Thunder. We all talk about how great they are and how good they are. And, oh, man, the Thunder. And the players, when you listen to the players are like, you can beat them, though. And it's interesting. It's an interesting thing because the players are telling you what they think. And on watching that game this week that they had, I think it was like Monday, that they had versus the Timberwolves, it was interesting to see them, to see the Timberwolves second guys, their the bench kind of go at them and not be afraid of them, and seeing like Terrence Shannon Jr. just go to the basket at will and not be afraid and just take it to him. Seeing Rob Dillingham just do his thing over and over again. Nikhil Alexander Walker just, again, driving and getting whatever bucket he wanted when he wanted. And so it was just a interesting thing to see them play without fear. And for 3/4 of that game, the Thunder were hitting shots. They were doing what the Thunder have done all year long. And Minnesota never blinked. Minnesota was never afraid. Minnesota was never shook at any moment by anything that the Thunder were doing. And as we go into the playoffs, I'm keeping an eye on that, because if you listen to like the national media, everyone's just penciling in the Thunder to come out of the West, and they might do so. They are the best team in the West. But in the playoffs, what helps you win in the playoffs is not necessarily what helped you win in the regular season. And we've seen this team, when things get tight, so do they. When things got tight in that game on Monday, the Thunder just weren't able to make shots. They were getting good looks, but they just got tight, and the shots got tighter, and everything else just kind of fell apart. And so if they're down 3-2 and they're not expecting it, and like, oh man, it's game 6 on the road, and they got to get it. They got to win that game to go back to home for game 7. I could see a scenario where just things get tight. And that game on Monday they were at home and they got tight. And so in the playoffs, things just get a little tighter. And say they were to play like the Warriors in the first round. The Warriors would be coming in with Steph, Jimmy Butler, who has like everything to prove. And he has like a Luka-sized boulder, Luka-sized chip on his back. And so that wouldn't be a fun matchup for them. So I'm keeping an eye on that, because there is a scenario where the Thunder fall short, and we're like, yeah, of course, yeah, they were too young, of course. It takes time. The Celtics were a young core, and it took them so long to get the title. When they played Steph and the Warriors, you could make the argument they should have won that. They were the better team. But as the games would get deeper, they would get tight. the Warriors wouldn't, because the Warriors were there. And so, say it's the Western Conference Finals and the Lakers get there and it's them versus the Lakers. Luka isn't getting tight. LeBron isn't getting tight. And that's going to be the battle. We saw last year, the Thunder had a better roster than the Mavericks, but Luka just didn't shrink. Luka didn't blink. And now if you are putting him against LeBron and Luka, two guys that are just have won too much, are too experienced, and will not be afraid of going to Oklahoma City. And so I'm keeping an eye on that, because that was super revealing to me. Let's talk Warriors. Yeah, the Warriors are in an interesting spot. Steph went stupid today. He had 56 points. They asked the Magic coach, Steph aside, what could have happened? And he's like, what do you mean, Steph aside? He had 56. And so the Warriors, things are a little easier for Steph because of Jimmy Butler. And that's really good for Steph. That's really bad for the rest of the league. And you do have to wonder if the rest of the league, the Warriors and the Lakers, now find themselves rejuvenized with a roster that is not perfect. Neither roster is perfect, but their top end guys are good enough to kind of bypass whatever is wrong with the roster, which we wouldn't be able to say that like a month ago, like pre the Luka trade for the Lakers. Is like, man, everything would have to go right. And now with Luka, and you got to assume Luka's just gonna get more comfortable as the season goes. And him and LeBron already have like this system, and LeBron's clearly willing to play off ball, which is he's much better than Luka at playing. You're getting this team now that's like, well, things don't necessarily have to be perfect. Like these guys are so good that they're capable of winning this thing themselves, and that's the Warriors have that now with Steph and Jimmy Butler and that whole infrastructure. And so keep an eye on the Warriors. The Timberwolves are a team that should be better, and we've talked about this before. They lose to the Lakers tonight. Anthony Edwards gets upset, gets tossed, throws the ball into his stands. And Anthony Edwards has to understand that he has to keep his cool. He is the leader, supposedly, of that team. He has to be the one that carries everybody. You can't get tossed out of any game, really, but especially a game against the Lakers where you need it and you gotta have it. And we're starting to get into this mode where all these games have to have it games, and Anthony Edwards has to understand that he is the guy that is gonna have to lead this team. He is the guy that's gonna give everybody else confidence. What happened on Monday versus the Thunder, as awesome as it was, is an anomaly. And especially because he was on the bench. You replay that game 10 times, Oklahoma City wins 9 of those times. So he has to be smarter. He has to understand he doesn't have another comparable star next to him, or a star that if he's not there can kind of carry the load. And just it was idiotic. His just the way he overreacted today, and quite disappointing, really, um, because he tells Obama in that documentary, the USA documentary, he's the truth. But then in All-Star break, he's saying Wemby's the next face of the league. It's just weird. Like, he wants to be the most popular social media guy, but he doesn't want the responsibilities of the corporate stuff that comes with being the face of the NBA. And that's what I took from what he said. Lakers. This is some Lakers. The Lakers are 36-21 after today's win. They won 4 straight. They're playing really good basketball. And they're about to enter a really rough part of their schedule. A really tough part of their schedule. 25 games left. And I think 11 of those are against top teams. Tomorrow, they host the Clippers at Crypto. And Sunday, they host the Clippers at Crypto again. So back-to-back games versus the Clippers tomorrow and Sunday. Home versus the Pelicans. Home versus the Knicks. At the Celtics. At the Nets. At the Bucks. At the Nuggets. Home versus the Suns. Home versus the Spurs. Home versus the Nuggets. Home versus the Bucks. And that is the stretch where it's, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games in with 13, 14, 16, 17. It's like 6 games in 8 days, something crazy like that. And the Lakers are doing exactly what they need to do, and that's just pile up these wins. Because it's going to get tough. It's going to get kind of bumpy. And what's going to decide how bumpy this ride gets is how many wins they have bagged. And so when we look through the schedule, you would think that they could beat the Clippers twice, but you got to split there. You got to beat the Pelicans. You got to beat the Nets. The Spurs without Wemby. The Suns have been playing off where you got to win that one. The Bulls. The Magic. You have to beat the Magic. The Pacers. The Bulls. The Pelicans. And you kind of bag those, and all the other ones kind of just, hopefully you win more than what you lose, and you kind of set yourself up for a top finish. Because as it stands right now, the Lakers are just a loss behind, one game behind, one game in the loss column. Wow, I can't talk. One game in the loss column behind the Grizzlies. They are 36-21. The Nuggets are 38-21. So they can very easily catch up to the Grizzlies and the Nuggets. And so you do that, and you kind of just position yourself to get as many games at home as you possibly can, which would be phenomenal for the Lakers. And so that's where the Lakers find themselves, with a really tough schedule ahead. And hopefully over that stretch, Luka's able to find himself, and the Lakers are able to kind of go through the whole process. Now, Rui did leave the game today with a strained knee. So hopefully that isn't serious, because if that is serious, then the Lakers have some trouble, because Rui has been phenomenal this season, offensively, but primarily defensively, being able to just take on the role as a stretch 5, even though he's like super undersized. So that's where we're at with the Lakers. And What else? What else do I have for you in terms of the NBA? I think that might be it for this week. I think in terms of just everything else that's going on with the NBA, everything else is pretty much pat. And yeah, man, that's it. Final thought? I'll give you final thought. I've been watching basketball a really long time. And one of the things I've noticed playing basketball, watching basketball, is there's a difference in this generation, unlike anything I've ever seen before. And when I was watching basketball when I was growing up, when I was playing basketball when I was growing up, there was this idea where you wanted to play like the guys you saw. You wanted to play in team, and you kind of just would model everything according to what you saw. So if you were a big guy, you played center, you grabbed boards because that's what you saw in the league. And every player was looking up to other players and playing like other players. So it was, the post-Jordan era, you had like all these two guards playing like Jordan. You had everybody going to Hakeem to learn the post and post moves and stuff like that. You had shooters kind of emulating Larry Bird. And you had a very connected league where the legends of the game were connected to the new generations because the new generations looked up to the previous ones. In a way that's very different today. You had Jordan, for example, talk about just what Dr. J meant to him. You had like Kobe talking about how much MJ meant to him. And now it's different because everyone is their own brand, because everybody is playing just for themselves. There's a disconnection between the old guys and the new guys. And there's a resentment that you'll hear from both sides. The old guys saying, back in our day, and you get the whole Charles Barkley and Shaq stuff. And you get the new guys just saying, like, they just hate on us. And I don't know when that started happening, but I don't like it. I don't like the disconnect that we see between the generations. 1, 2. And you get that now in basketball. Everybody just wants to shoot threes. I played basketball last night. And everybody just wants to shoot threes. Everybody just wants to chuck it up. And we can say it's Steph. Steph revolutionized it. But I think it's deeper than that. You would think that in the time when Jordan, Kobe, Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, you would think that in that generation there would have been more selfish basketball. And there was. Myself included. I remember younger, just like I was a major ball hog. But there was also the sense of team, Like there was a sense of pick and rolls, and you're going to like set the pick and I'm going to pass it to you. And, there was stuff like that. In today's basketball, not pros and everywhere else, and even just at the park, everybody gets the ball and shoots threes. Nobody's cutting, nobody's setting screens, nobody's moving without the ball, nobody's looking to make the game easier for somebody else. And it just sucks, man. It sucks that nobody plays like that anymore. And I don't know how to fix that. It might be too far gone, but it just sucks. And that's my final thought. Playing basketball now, it's not as fun as it used to be. In terms of like the game, it's still a lot of fun to play ball, but in terms of just like the rhythm of the game, it's just a different rhythm now because everybody's more selfish, which is ironic because Steph is like considered the most selfless guy there is. So that's my final thought. That's the pod. I'll talk to you next week. Hopefully Harry. If not, if not more, me. So I'll talk to you then. Enjoy your weekend. And see you later. That's the pod. Thank you to Angel. Thank you to Charlie. Thank you to you for listening. I will be back on Monday, maybe, hopefully, with Harry. Hopefully. And if not, then that's okay. That's okay. But yeah. So I'll talk to you then. I have hopefully you have a good weekend. You can listen to this podcast anywhere. And subscribe. Let's do roll call. Yeah. Viva la Máquina, 5-2. Things are turning around. And our old manager, he's like in trouble. Porto's like, dude, you lied to us. And you might get fired. And he just didn't give us his right. So that lawsuit actually. So shout out to them. Viva la Máquina. Hala Madrid. Big game versus Betis. Anthony's playing. Manchester United's Anthony. His edits on TikTok are nice. So funny. He just gets popped. Glory Man United. Big win yesterday. Just shout out to those guys. But Sunday morning, Fulham. FA Cup. Let's try to win that one, huh? Let's try to get some cups for us. And let's go Lakers. Big win versus the T-Wolves. Just bagging those wins. Big game versus the Clips over the next 2 days. Let's win those. Let's go Lakers. Let's go Luka. Let's go Brown. Let's go JJ. That's it. So I will talk to you next week. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe. Stay fit. Get your steps in. And I'm very, very, very happy that it's going. The Arizona Podcast is brought to you by Triumph Protective Corny, a flooring company that specializes in epoxy flooring and concrete resurfacing systems. They speak Spanish in the LA area, and they are an amazing company to work with. They have awesome customer service, and they give you honest quotes with great work, and I couldn't recommend it enough. So use the promo code ARROWSUP and get 15% off on your next project. So call them, reach out to them. You can find them on the internet, triumphcoatingsca.com, and you can request a free quote and all that fun stuff. You can follow them on Instagram, triumph_coatings, and they do speak Spanish. They do great work, like I said. So check them out. Promo code ARROWSUP, 15% off your next project.